Hello people, my name is Ben, and this week's game, from when I'm recording this, it should go up on the Sunday as well. If it goes up on the Monday, then I mean week 12's game, last week's game, was of course Metal Gear Solid 3. I'm apologising for not getting this video up earlier, but now that I've actually, completed the game for the week, I thought I would make the video on it anyway, because I still need to keep that up one way or another, and just give my opinions on the game as a whole. Now, I played the version on the PS2, the original version, with this camera angle stuff. And that's really the main problem that I have with the game, is the camera angle, which they fixed in Substance, apparently. They fixed in the HD collection and all of that stuff. Mainly because walking around like this and wanting to check what was to the left, right, or especially behind you is extremely annoying. Just have to go into first person. You do get used to it. The controls as a whole take quite some getting used to. This is the first Metal Gear game I've truly gotten into and fully played. I played some of Metal Gear Solid 4, and of course I beat Rising, but that is of course very different as well. But yeah, the camera angle stuff, it's very annoying. Just have to constantly do that, just check what's in front of you, what Snake is already looking at is, it's a shame that has to be a thing. It's locked. And that was really the main problem. It took me 2 to 3 hours to really get used to the controls. Oh, sorry. He'll check me and then... He's actually the objective at this point in the game. In fact, let's... see how he reacts to this. Sup. So of course freaking out. And then alarms go off and the alert phase is in full effect. And there's quite a bit of waiting around for stuff like that to, end. And in a position like this, I literally can't really check behind me. Unless I do something like... No, it's very awkward. The main thing that takes getting used to with the game is... are the controls for crouching and stuff like that, because press X and you go into a crouch, but if you move during that you go prone, so it's very different to a lot of games, because of course most things, crouching and prone are two completely different things. And so you'll press X and then maybe you'll hold X down to go into prone, but you never really just go into prone by moving, which is it's very, very strange. That works. I never legitimately used the fake death pills during my playthrough. I used them to restart when I wanted to restart, but that was about it. I never really used them, and I think they would have created some more interesting situations. I like how they're just going around just with the dead body there. They don't really mind. Some good AI there. The AI is pretty good. We had some very stupid parts, but honestly for a PS2 game, there's a lot of parts where I was very surprised with how smart it was. It's smarter than quite a few modern games, and that's pretty sad for modern games. And the game just has so many little touches just everywhere, from whatever weapon you equip, bosses' weaknesses, different camos, like the mask thing that I just tried. Just so many different things, and that's probably what's most impressive about it. So many different lines of dialogue and such. It's really, really impressive. And I love how, even though he's got a bandana on and all of that stuff, nobody's really suspicious. They think he's just a normal scientist, unless there is a scientist who bumps into him. But yeah, so the camera issues definitely hinder the experience. I mean, that you can walk into places and you can't see if you're going to bump into someone, and then it happens, and it's very, very annoying. But once you get used to the control, you start, you know, doing more stuff in first person, knocking people out from great distances, which is what I was doing a lot with the tranq gun. Has some serious range on that, pretty much infinite range from what I can tell. And then it becomes really fun. A lot of fun, very challenging. The boss fights, of course, pretty much the highlights of Metal Gear Solid. All the boss fights and the cutscenes, and the boss fights were really, really good. There were a few that annoyed me. The Sora wasn't really annoying, it was clever. I actually quite liked the Sora boss fight. My favourite, I think, was still the end, as in, that's the name of the guy, not the actual end of the game. I think that was still my favourite boss fight. The Fear was also a really good one, and then the actual end boss was probably my second favourite. But most of them were really good and fun. Stuff like the Fear, I really enjoyed, as well as... what was the other one now? Whatever the Fury, is it? Is it the Fury? Whichever one it has the flamethrowers and such. I enjoyed both of those, but yet again they were hindered by the camera, because there were a lot of like tight corridors and corners and stuff, and it's like, if I could just see ahead of me when I'm turning around, you know, facing this way, that would be fantastic. So I honestly wouldn't mind playing it again at a later date with the improved camera. HD collection, hopefully. We didn't play the HD collection on stream because of HDCP with the PS3, and there's no PS3 emulator that I can use to get around that problem, so yeah, that was a real shame. But overall, I really enjoyed it. It's my first Metal Gear Solid game that I've actually completed, and I chose this one because it's the first in the timeline, pretty much. We're not going to play Peace Walker on the stream, but next up is Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. Not next week, but at a later date, probably during the summer. I might do both of them in a single week. That could be pretty cool. Yeah, definitely playing more, because it does a really good job of getting you interested in all of the mechanics. It's very, very good. All of the mechanics, all of the characters, just everything about the world. I think the exposition dumps could be handled much better, and of course it seems like they still aren't, rather than just very, very long drawn out things on the codec with like slideshows and stuff like that. I mean, they're interesting, but after 10 minutes your interest starts to, well, my interest at least, just starts to kind of deplete, because it's like, could you show this in a more interesting way, or have it going on while I'm playing the game? You know, something like that would be kind of nice. But unfortunately they really don't. And in terms of the plot, that's my main complaint. Other than that, I enjoyed the plot. I thought it was pretty awesome. It's ridiculous and melodramatic, and that's why I love it, though. Like, if you want to go to Metal Gear Solid for realism and a lot of seriousness that is like meant to be taken seriously, then you're not really gonna find it. All you're gonna find is quite a bit of campy awkwardness, a lot of hilarity, and just over the top, exaggerated, ridiculous stuff that is just hilarious and great to watch and great to play as well. There are some legitimately emotional parts, and it's really weird because I'm not really sure how to feel about it, because it's just such a contrast, because in the few emotional parts that they have, they're handled really well, and all of a sudden the writing gets pretty good. They kind of shove a lot of things in your face, like, be sad at all of this, but when they're not doing that, it's really, really good. It's like legitimately emotional, but I think it would actually get to me more if the entire game was like that and I wasn't just laughing at most of the cutscenes with how hilariously bad B-movie-esque they are. But I love that they're like that, and I think a lot of people do. That's what they should love about it. Nobody, of course. But yeah, so I completed Metal Gear Solid 3. Normal difficulty. It was good. It's very good. Some difficult parts. The EVA. God damn it, the EVA escort is one of the worst things and one of the biggest buzzkills I've ever seen in any game. It's just such a horrendous part. And it's a real shame that it had to be in the game. Especially like when it's very close to the end, which as I said, as like my second favourite boss fight. I think it's a real shame. Either way, that's Metal Gear Solid 3. I enjoyed it. Thank you to all the new followers. We got like 10? No, about 8 or so new followers just from this week alone, which was really fucking awesome, and I really didn't expect that, so I'm excited to play more Metal Gear games if I'm gonna get a crowd like that again. That would be fantastic. I love you guys. Goodbye, and I will be making a video for next week's game, which I already have picked out. And I'll explain more in that video. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.